Good morning, IP4. Welcome to class. I hope you guys are well and ready for the lesson today. Now, today we are going to be relating hundreds and decimals. This is just a continuation of what we were doing in class. Now, previously we related tenths and decimals, whereby we converted fractions of base 10 to decimals, and we also converted decimals of base 10 to fractions. All right. Today we are going to be doing exactly the same thing, except we are going to be using hundreds. All right. Now let's get into it. Slide. Sorry. Okay. So this number 4.67 can be written as two numbers. The first one is the whole. The second one is the decimal. All right. The whole is 4. The decimal is 0.67. Okay. If you remember correctly from class, we said that the first place after the decimal where 6 is, we call that the 10th place. 10th. And then the second one after the decimal, that we call the hundredth place. Okay. So I need you to remember this because we're going to use it in the coming parts. Okay. Now, say you have a flat, okay, and we already know this from place value. A flat is one that has 100 parts, and it has 10 tenths, okay? Now, say we have 100 flats and we select just one part, okay? The fraction of that one part should be 1 over 100. Initially when we started this, I told you how to name this. Now this we would say is 100th, hundredths. Okay. Remember, I'm bringing back the hundreds in this case to make sure that this is the tenths, this is the hundredths. So when I say 100th, this one has to be in the hundredths place. Okay. So this is why 1 over 100 is written as 0.01. Okay. If you have two parts, you say 1, 2. The fraction of the selected parts should be 2 over 100. We say that that is 200. That's why when you write it as a fraction, it becomes 0.02. Okay? But when we get to bigger numbers like 10, it becomes a bit different. Okay? Now 10, let's first of all come to this flat. Okay? This flat has 100 ones. Now let's say how many tens this flat has. If you have 10 ones, you have 1 10. So this is 1 10. This one here, 2 tens, 3 tens, 4 tens, 5 tens, 6 tens, 7 tens, 8 tens, 9 tens, and 10 tens. So one flat has 10 tens. So if we select 1 10 over 100, that is the same as saying 1 over 10. Okay? And as we already know, 1 over 10 is 0.1. Another way you could look at it is say that you have 10 over 100. There's a 0 up here, there's a 0 down here. This 0 can cancel with that 0, and again you're left with 1 over 10. The same thing applies for 50 parts. If you have 50 parts, that is the same as saying 5 over 10. Yeah? And then 5 over 10 is just 0.5. The same goes for 80 parts. 80 parts is basically, you go, if this is 1, 10, 2, up to 8. It will be 8 over 10, which is just 0.8. Therefore, if you have 1 over 100, 0.01. If you have 2 over 100, 0.02. But if you have 10 over 100, 0.10. I'm putting the 0 here to show you guys that I'm talking about 2 digits after the decimal. Otherwise, we already know that any 0 after the decimal point that doesn't have any number after it is insignificant. Right? I hope that is clear. Now let's move on to the next one. Okay, so if you're to talk about decimals, this is 1 whole. 1/0 is always the entire thing, 100 parts. 0.1 is just 10 parts. 0.3 is 30 parts. 0.5 is 50 parts. 0.7 is 70 parts, and 0.8 is just 80 parts, meaning it's just 80 over 100, 70 over 100, and so on. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Now the next one, I want to further go down on how you deep down on how you relate these values, especially when we're working with mixed numbers. Okay, now say for example you have a number 2.3. Okay, and I ask you to convert it to a fraction. Okay, as we did with 4.67. Where's my cursor? 2.3 can be written as two numbers, the whole and the decimal. Okay, now the whole is just 2 plus the decimal here is now 0.30. You ask yourself, 0.30, what fraction is that? It's just 0.3. That fraction can either be 3 over 10 or 30 over 100. It depends on which base you're using. Okay, and if you further want to go down and see if you have 2.01, how to deal with that. 2.01 is here. There's 2 and then there's 2.1. There's 2.01, 0.02, 0.03, 0.04, 0.05. And then 0.06, 0.07, 0.08, 0.09, and then 2.1. Okay, these are just the small units in 100, in a number line of 100. Now let's look at something else. Now we're looking at the mixed fractions. You have 3, 25 over 100. There's a whole and a fraction. Basically, this is what I've been talking about just now. It can be written as 3 plus 25 over 100. 3 plus 25 over 100 is also 3 plus 25 over 100 is 0.25. The last time in class, I also showed you guys a shortcut that you can use. Okay, if you have a number over 100, you say, I'll take this 0 and take the decimal point from here to bring it between 2 and 5. And then this 0, cancel this 0 to take the decimal point between 2 and 5 to after 2. Where you end, where the zeros end, that's where you put your point. You put your point here and then 0 point. So that's why you have 0.25. So the answer for this should be 3.25. 0 ones and 1/10 and 7/100 is 0.17 or 1/17 over 100. 1.23 is just 1/23 over 100 because you're looking at 23. How can you write the 0.23 as a fraction? It's 23 over 100. You have 2 decimal places, meaning it's over base 100. Again, 6.45 is exactly the same thing. All right. I really do hope that's the end of our lesson today. I really do hope you understood what I said. If you don't understand, you're always welcome to email me with your questions. For today's lesson, I'd like you guys to open your textbook, page 541, and do numbers 1 to 10. All right. I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.